This story is not really about me, but about my younger sister and my relationship with her. We are very close, and she means the world to me. I have two younger brothers, twins, but I'm not as close with them as I am with her. Anyways, before I begin my story, I had to provide some context about our lives. We grew up in a very, very Christian household. No, not go to church every Sunday and no cursing kind of Christian. I mean, the go to church twice a week, a cross in every room, and daily prayer kind of Christian household. Needless to say, religion was a big thing in our family. I grew up around mostly my family. I didn't really have too many friends growing up because my family preferred me hanging around people who were in our religion. I'm not going to say what religion we are, because not everyone is like my family in our religion. I don't like putting people in bubbles like my family had me believe. Anyways, the kids we did get to hang around were kids in my religion, and luckily, we got to go to school with them, and also normal kids. A lot of kids in my church did go to public school, because it was the closest school, and there wasn't a school directly from our religion in our country at the time, so me and my sister were very sheltered and awkward kids. We weren't allowed to do many things after school, no after-school activities, and the ones we could do were more about academics like math club, chess club, and of course, Kids for Christ. Like I said before, me and my sister were rarely allowed to hang out with kids outside of religion, without supervision, but when we did hang around other kids of our faith, we made the most of it, especially since some of those kids were actually doing things against our religion, like doing drugs, having sex with other kids in our church, cursing, and I can tell you many stories about me and my sister getting high and other cool shit I did with them, but that is for another time. In fact, in the beginning, I even tattled on them a few times when I was in middle school, because I was drilled into me that they were going to hell if I didn't tell, and I, too, for keeping the secrets. Yeah, I had a lot of that shit drilled into me, so most of what me and my sister learned about the world outside our church was either from those cool kids or from Reddit and the internet. We had a family computer, and it had to be in the living room. Me and my sister had to use it in the public to make sure we weren't using it for porn or other shit like that. Sometimes, me and my sister would go out to the living room at 2 a.m. just to go on websites we weren't allowed to be on, like Reddit, Facebook, or watch funny videos. We didn't have smartphones, because they were kind of just starting to pick up, and we weren't allowed to have them. So that's why we would do that. Sometimes we'd get caught from laughing so loud and get lectured by our father, but those are still some of my favorite memories with my sister. Anyways, enough information, on with the story. As I said before, me and my sister were extremely, extremely close. We would tell each other anything, really, which is why it warmed and broke my heart when she came up to me as gay at age 17. I feel guilty, because I said she was just confused, but I knew I was wrong. I hugged her and cried with her, because I could only imagine the pressure, the guilt, and pain that she was going through. Of course, we never told our family and kept it a secret. Being gay is something that is not accepted in our religion, so my sister wanted to get away from our family to some place where she could be herself. When she graduated high school a year before I did, she begged my parents to go to a university she wanted. My parents told us that after high school, we could either go to community college or a university that was run by people of a religion, like a Catholic school or something like that. However, with enough convincing that we were good kids with Christ in our heart, my parents let her go to the university she wanted, under the strict rules, which I'll get to later. I went to community college to get my gen eds done, and then my parents let me do the same as my sister. I decided to go to a school in New York called Columbia University, and my sister decided to go to a school called UCLA, which was a university in Los Angeles, California. I guess those extracurricular activities paid off. Although me and my sister were on opposite sides of the country, we were still able to communicate because our parents let us have our own computers and Samsung Galaxy S4s, with the exception of being forced to download the app Life 360. If you don't know what that is It's an app that allows your family members to see where you are based on the GPS in your phone. So, we had to be careful where we went, or at least leave our phone at home, our dorms, when we went out and partied at nighttime. My sister and I would constantly talk about college life and how amazing it was to be away from the strict household. We could be free and do what we wanted. On Skype, she gave all the details about her life at the moment and told me things about how extremely gay-friendly California was, and she even had a girlfriend now, and told me how open she can be about her sexuality. Unfortunately, she may have been a little bit too open. Let me explain. At home, we were constantly told to suppress sexual urges, so my sister just lets her all out while she was at college. She told me stories on Skype about how she was polyamorous. That means you date more than one person, and had multiple girlfriends. I didn't get it, but she said she would sometimes want to experiment with toys, other gay and straight couples, and would even sometimes bring 1 to 3 women, including her girlfriend of that time, back to the fraternity houses and let all their sexual urges run wild. I wasn't a fan of listening to those stories and thought she was just making a lot of the stories up, but of course it's my sister. I did it anyways because I told her she could tell me anything. However, one experience is what I'm writing about now. One night, I got a call at 2 a.m. in the morning and had to walk out into the hall because I didn't want to wake up my roommates. It was my sister. She was crying hysterically, and I could barely make out her words through her sobbing. I just told her, calm down, just tell me what's wrong. She responded with, I'm being stalked and harassed. I don't know what to do. I don't know who else to call. I told her, call the police. She responded, I can't. I was confused. Why? So I asked her to tell me what in the world was going on. Apparently, the story goes like this. One day at university, my sister met this girl, let's call her April, and asked April if she wanted to be part of her polyamorous thing or whatever it is. Apparently, they hit it off very well, and had quite a really good connection. About a week or 2 into their relationship, my sister asked April if she wanted to come back to her dorm to watch Netflix and hang out. They did, but my sister's other girlfriend stopped by to pick up something she left at her dorm. My sister gave her a kiss goodbye, and when April saw this, she was kind of mad. She was upset because she thought she shouldn't do that when they're in the same room or some other bullshit like that, and apparently they got into a fight. They made up and eventually got back together. Then my sister started noticing suspicious things about April for the past few months. April would constantly call her, text her nonstop, get jealous when she was with another woman, things like that. At one time, my sister received 48 texts from April when she was in class and couldn't answer because she was taking a test. They were texts like, where are you? Why aren't you answering? You better not be with another woman. Why don't you love me? Crazy texts like that. That was the final straw for my sister, and she broke it off with April. April didn't take it well. My sister told me about April in the past, but we thought nothing of it. Just people being crazy, I guess, right? However, my sister started seeing April everywhere she went. She saw her when she was walking to class, at the front of her dorm when she got out, in the cafeteria, messages on social media. It was insane. My sister threatened to call campus security on April, and that seemed to scare her off for a while. But that would only last so long. Fast forward to the fall semester of 2015, and my sister starts to hear from April again. Only this time, things got worse. April would go around to women my sister was supposedly dating and tell them that she was my sister's fiancée or girlfriend, or even she had an STD, and they should stay away from her or else. My sister even started receiving threats from April via social media accounts. I swear, this girl was fucking insane. My sister was terrified, to say the least. She called campus security and just asked her to watch out that she doesn't try to come into the same dorm building and did not make a big deal about it. I'll explain why in a second. One night, my sister and her roommate comes back to their dorm, and my sister noticed the door was open. They were sure they locked it. They came back, and the room looked fine, but there was a note on my sister's bed. What it said still scares the both of us to this day. Like a cliche horror movie, the note read, "If I can't fucking have you in my life, no one can. Never go near another woman or else. I know where you live." My sister just started crying and showed her roommate the letter. They were in utter shock, and also through her tears, she noticed one thing was missing. Her purse was gone. Her purse had a lot of important stuff in it. Her wallet, which had her license, debit cards, some dead gift cards, and other unimportant stuff, but luckily her phone and computer were still there charging under the bed. After that, she immediately called me. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't she just call campus security or the police or anyone like that? Well, here's the reason why. Usually when situations occur on college campuses and the police have to get involved, guess who else might receive a call? That's right, our parents. And they found out about April and my sister. There's a good chance my sister would have worse to worry about at home. I've been told by someone that technically the school or police can't call your parents without your permission, but my sister was too scared to take that risk. That would be a hard thing to keep secret. The only thing we could do right now would be to cancel the debit cards and ask for new ones from the bank. Luckily, April didn't use them because all the money was still there in her account. That was the only thing we had to explain to our parents. She just said she may have accidentally left her wallet at a Starbucks or something like that. And even then, they were worried about just that. As for her driver's license, I didn't know what to do besides look up on Google how to get a new one. She did end up getting a new one later though. So, for the next few months, my sister was on a constant lookout, but luckily, she didn't hear from April for a while. We weren't sure if maybe she lost interest, or maybe because she was planning something, but we didn't care. That didn't mean my sister still wasn't nervous. My sister always double-checked the area she was and made sure to be aware of her surroundings. She even went to the official college safe space, and yes, those exist. Luckily, she didn't turn into one of the social justice warriors I keep hearing about. Anyways, she did hear from April a couple times, but those were just messages from fake profiles on Facebook. She couldn't prove they were her, but we knew they were. Who else would those messages be from? So luckily, my sister never heard from her for a while. However, that wouldn't last for too long. Like I said before, our parents had a tracking app on our phone, and often our parents would call to ask how we were doing, or why we were somewhere. So a lot of the times, we left our phones at our dorms. My sister told me through Skype that she heard from April again when she brought a girl from a party back to her dorm to fool around. After they were done, she noticed she received a text from a random number about an hour ago. It read, "Bringing another whore back to your dorm? I knew you were a slut." She said she was terrified. I told her April was probably just at the party because a lot of people were there, but to make sure to still be on the lookout. About a day or two later, I'm laying on my bed watching my favorite movie with my girlfriend at the time when I get a call from a blocked number. I know I shouldn't have answered it, but I did anyways. I said, "Hello?" In a low voice, I heard, "Hi. Bet you didn't know your sister is a little whore, right?" I replied in an angry tone, "Excuse me?" The person on the phone replied, "Yeah, a worthless little faggot whore," and then just hung up. Needless to say, I was pissed off and confused, and my girlfriend could see it. She asked what was wrong, and I just told her. I had to walk out and call my sister. I knew it was April, and I don't know how the April got my number, but she did. I called my sister and told her not to panic. I told her to please be careful, and to always carry mace or a stun gun on her, because I didn't know what else to do. We were stuck. Seeing her back home during Thanksgiving was such a relief, but I could see the effects that April and the college stress had on her. The stress of finals was already killing us at the moment, and now we had to worry about this. Luckily, April didn't call me or my sister again, and for the last month, things were quiet. Fast forward to December, and all of our finals were done, and we were both back at home with our parents and brothers, and both glad to be home. Yet we missed our freedom we had at college. Whenever we came home from college, it went from freedom to go and do what we want to only using computers in the living room and be home by 10 p.m. kind of life, you know? We spent the last few days either talking, going to church, relaxing, or texting our friends. Yep, we got to keep the phones. Christmas came, and I wish I could say it was a relaxing one, but it wasn't. First came church, of course, then came volunteering at a soup kitchen, which is something I actually liked about my church, and then dinner with family. It was a lot, but in the end, my family bought us new clothes and about $500 in cash and gift cards. So I'd say it was a good Christmas. Everything was peaceful, or so I thought. Fast forward a week or two, it was a cold Wednesday morning, and my father was awake. He usually wakes up early because he enjoys drinking coffee in peace while watching TV, or reading literature our church hands out. I was just starting to wake up when he calls me and my siblings downstairs in a not-so-good tone of voice. We sat down on the couch, and my mom was down there as well. They looked furious, and we were all a little nervous and confused. We asked our parents what was going on, and here's what happened. My father was looking through the mail and found a letter with a return address he didn't recognize, under the name Jane Doe, when he showed us what was inside the letter. I couldn't believe what I saw. In his hand were printed out pictures of my sister from her private Facebook account. There were pictures of my sister either partying or kissing every girl my sister was dating within that 2-year period. My sister's face just turned white like a ghost, and me and her must have shat bricks when he showed us. My father just stared at my sister and said, in the sternest tone possible, "What are these?" Before any of us could get a word out, he yelled, "What are these?" I was dumbfounded and terrified. My sister started to break out in tears. I was just sitting there and wondered, how the hell did... And then I remembered. April had my sister's driver's license when she stole her purse. April must have copied pictures from my sister's Facebook account and then send them to her home. But I didn't understand how the hell she couldn't gotten those pictures because her Facebook was private. April and her were friends like for a month, but she unfriended her, and some of those photos were from after she blocked her. I don't know how, but it didn't matter. What made it worse was on the back of the photos it read, "I know where you live." All I could remember was my father screaming, my sister and mother crying, and me and my brother just sitting there in shock. My sister confessed everything about her and April, and my parents were furious to say the least. My father walked up to me and my brothers and said, "Did any of you know about this?" My 2 brothers legitimately didn't know anything, and they answered no. My father walks up to me and asked if I knew. Like a dog with his tail between his legs, I responded, "No, I didn't." He looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "People who keep others' sins a secret and lie about them burn in hellfire. So I'm going to ask you one last time. Did you know?" Once again I responded, "No, I didn't, Dad." I could see my sister just in shock through tears, that I didn't defend her. I still see her shocked face in my nightmares. How could I not stand up for my baby sister, my best friend, my flesh and blood, when she needed it the most? In the end, my father gave her an ultimatum. Either my sister went to conversion therapy, which, yes, is still a thing in my state, or she leaves the house. Also, there was no way she was going to be allowed back at UCLA. My sister kept saying she didn't need therapy and begged our parents to accept her for who she was, but that didn't happen. In the end, my father kicked her out of the house, and me and my brothers were furious with them. When confronting my parents and yelling how they could do this, my mother and father kept justifying their actions by saying she chose to sin against God, and it put our family in danger. And if you're wondering why my parents didn't call the police, well, here's why. A lot of our neighbors and people in our community went to the same church. If one neighbor saw police cars at our house, someone would get suspicious, and someone would find out what happened. Word would spread through the church like wildfire, and my parents would be looked at differently and with contempt by everyone in my church. My parents cared more about their reputation in our fucking church than the safety and security of their own daughter. I never looked at my parents the same way ever again. Luckily, a distant friend who left our church was able to take her in. Although the spring semester of UCLA was already paid for, there was no way for her to get there or support herself while there, so she never got to go back. My parents told me to cut off communication with her, but there was no way that was gonna fucking happen. They threatened to either not let me go back to school or kick me out, but I was able to find my way around them. My sister told me that she forgives me for not standing up for her, because she understands I was scared and it wasn't my fault. She kept blaming herself, but I keep telling her there's nothing wrong with her. My parents never should have done what they did. I am currently still with my parents and still have about another year until I get my electrical engineering degree. My sister is currently living with my friend, but luckily she has a job and a girlfriend. They're a beautiful couple. When I move out, you're damn right I'm not going back to church. Not because I hate our church, but because I know it will make my parents angry, and they can't threaten me then. So to my sister, if you're listening to this, please know I love you and I'll always be there for you. Luckily, we never heard from April again. So April, if you're reading this, I hope you understand that you ruined the life of an amazing young woman who was stuck in the closet. And rather than sympathize with someone on your own side, you made the life of a closeted gay person harder. So, April, I hope you fucking rot in hell for what you did to my family